pony hunter, so that's going to be something really fun too. And also the crowd favorite, the Puissance.
My name is Todd Minicus, and I've had an awesome riding career. I've been very fortunate to have had some awesome horses and 3-time President's Cup winner, and so hopefully maybe I can pick off the President's Cup again this year for a 4th time. It's been very good to me. The very first time I came to Washington, the first time that I qualified for indoors, I had a horse that I bought off the racetrack, and when we got here, long story short, I ended up winning every class at the horse show except for the Nations Cup. Kind of unfortunate here through COVID and whatnot that we've had to relocate it and whatnot, but it's still a fantastic show, and the history that goes along with it is absolutely awesome. So no matter where it is, it's still Washington, and everybody loves it. The horse I'm showing in the President's Cup is Amex, and she won the President's Cup last year, so she'll be defending her title. And she's had an awesome career. She was Reserve Grand Prix Horse of the Year for America last year, and fortunate to have her. World-class show jumping, and it'll be world-class jumping and world-class course designer, and some of the best riders and horses in the world are here, so it'll be a very tough competition.
Good evening and welcome to the Tryon Equestrian Center here in North Carolina as we play host to the Washington International Horse Show. We're building up towards tonight's speed final. It is military night here as well. We've got the Land Rover Puissance coming up later on, but our speed final is a table C competition. As you can see here in the ring, we're presenting the national and state colors and about to have the national anthem to set the scene for tonight's feature international class. And as we build up to that, you can see the 43 horse and rider combinations that are going to be leading us off here around this track set by Bernardo Costa Cabral.
Flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
So a fantastic start to the night. Our cadets from the ROTC presenting the national and state colors here in North Carolina at this show that traditionally takes place in the nation's capital. The First Lady, the traditional patron of the Washington International Horse Show, and presenting the only sporting trophy in America to bear the seal of the President of the United States of America. That is the President's Cup, awarded for the World Cup, originally presented to the show by First Lady Jackie Kennedy, who started the tradition of the relationship between the First Lady and the show. So with our Table C format, we've got Bernardo Costa Cabral laying out the track here tonight. So Table C means that we convert faults into time, so 4 seconds added for each rail down. He hasn't actually necessarily made it possible for them to take too many inside turns. It'd be interesting to see quite how brave they are. I mean, there's some places where you could certainly try, but it looks like you're going to make life very difficult for yourself. So we will watch that. The American flag planks that you see, that comes up quite early on the course. That is a fence 4, and actually that is the TAPS program fence, and the TAPS program have been part of Military Night at Washington as our chosen charity for a number of years. The Tragedy Assistance Program for survivors, helping those with PTSD and who've returned from service. And the TAPS program, that's going to be a go clean for the green jump tonight, and if they clear that, we'll be making a donation to the TAPS program, and I think it's $500 a clear, and we'll keep a tally of that as we go on through the class. Kim Prince is alongside me for this competition. Again, we've got fantastic field when you look at McLean Ward starting out, but tell me about sort of the tactics and the thinking when you're walking and planning for a Table C track, Kim.
Well, I was out walking the course and I saw everybody looking at the inside turn, so I'll be interested to see what happens. But with McLean starting it out, I think he'll set the pace, and then people will just have to see what he does. And I think he's going to be the pace setter, and he's going to be the track setter, I think.
But of course, in this format, rather than a normal Table A format, you can have a rail and still be very competitive. Of course, you pick up a 4-second penalty, but if you've got a real scooty quick horse, you could still be right there challenging with one of the leading times, because your rail, your 4 faults becomes 4 penalty seconds added on to your time taken.
Yeah, it is a fun format for sure.
What a difference a day makes as well. We can see the Blue Ridge Mountains tonight. Last night we could barely see the other side of the ring with the heavy rain that we were working our way through here at Tryon. But actually the weather, having been absolutely beautiful 2 days ago, is going to pick up as the weekend goes on, and we should be set fair for a clear evening tomorrow night for the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier for the award of the President's Trophy. There is McLean. Our ringmaster is in the ring as well, ready to sound the call to make the traditional start to an international and major competition here in the United States. So McLean Ward is our first McLean with Blossom Z. McLean, who was a Tokyo Olympian this summer, he is, it almost doesn't matter what show in America you go to, you'll probably find that McLean is the winning most rider. He has the most wins of any rider, I think, in the President's Cup competition at Washington in its history, and comes here very well mounted this year with a challenge for that. It would take him to the World Cup finals once again, a title he has won previously when the finals were held in Omaha, Nebraska back in 2017. McLean is just picked up a thundering pace already as he sets out over the triple bar.
Yeah, he galloped up that first line because he wanted it to be close to it so he could turn back quick to the Land Rover. And like we said, he is already blistering fast.
So there's one of the inside turns. Yeah, it puts him on the angle over the FLM chocolates,
which he played to his advantage, getting back to that combination. And then there's some material here. We'll see. Yep, he's going to slip inside again. Oh, got a rub there, but got away with it.
Is this the final loop? Mars a question. Yeah, he is going to go inside the first.
Yes, absolutely.
It puts you right in the face of this, and it's such a wide water tray behind it.
And then you have to continue to get down that last line, and it caught up with him. Yep.
Takes the rail. McLean Ward and Blossom Z is going to have 4 added.
But he really set the track, so I think everyone was watching him, and now they know it can all be done. Just got to clear that last jump.
So 58.39 is the competition time. He went around in 54.39 clock time, but just took the front rail off the last with him to have those 4 penalty seconds.
Quite a brilliant round in McLean fashion.
tragedy assistance program for survivors does for our official military veterans and their families.
So Alessandra Volpi is going to be the first to challenge McLean's time. Rider who's ridden World Cup qualifiers in the past, has jumped the Heritage Horse Shows at Upperville and the Hampton Classic this year. Alessandra with Absolute de Mio by Milord Cartago. I think it's a big challenge for a younger rider to be following McLean Ward in.
Indeed. But this horse looks more than ready to go.
And the team at Mars Equestrian are very excited about their FLM fence. It made its debut in at Upperville this year, and since then they've been working very hard to get the chocolate pieces with it as well. And I think they are making their debut tonight.
I know, it looks great. Yep, and you can see she again got inside. This is not such a risky place because you can curve the 6 to get to the combination.
Yeah, he set that line on a little bit of a dog leg across in front of the in-gate.
And she's doing it all, still getting inside the island here. Oh, and rubbed it off just a little bit too close. And she added a stride from what McLean did. He got there in 7, she did 8, but she wanted to be organized to get this next inside turn. Oh, well done, well done. Just deep at that 1 FEI vertical and just rubbed off.
So Alessandra's clock time is 58.30, equivalent to McLean's competition time. She also has 4 to add, so we will put her on the board on 62.30. Actually, that's interestingly not an inside turn. That is, the course designers have to lay out the line they've measured, and Bernardo wants them to go.
Yes, he wants them to go inside. Yes, that island is placed strategically to force them to do it.
New mount for Catherine this season, earning placings here in Tryon and as well on the campaign in Columbus, Ohio. Catherine Strauss.
So Catherine Strauss is our next to go. Catherine, who's been a team and individual medalist at North American Youth Championships. She's been a Grand Prix winner at Angelstone in Canada and has had several appearances at the 5-star level of our sport. Catherine with Cincinnati Kid. Cincinnati is by the former Ralph Joran Bengtsson horse Clarimo.
The course has such a good start. It's a wide open gallop to get to number 1, and 1 is so inviting. So it's nice to see them start right off with a bang. It was a good ride. She just got a little bit past it again with the hind end.
Yeah.
It was the right angle. She just overrode a hair.
I think it's a very brave angle, and I think the horse was a little bit like, you can't possibly mean that I'm going to jump that one. We're going past it, surely. So carrying 8 seconds to add.
I like her. I like her still trying to do the inside to the last line. Good on her to practice, even with the 8 seconds.
2 fences down.
So 59 around the course. So McLean is still the very fastest over the ground on about 54 seconds. But 59 with then 8 to add will be 67 seconds for Catherine Strauss. 67.09.
And you can see on that replay, the end of the combination, she was just a little bit too close and too hot coming in.
A rider with 4 World Cup Finals appearances, coming off some solid showings recently in Greenwich and White Sulphur Springs.
Katie Dinan and Dougie Douglas for Grant Road Partners, the 16-year-old by Douglas. For Katie, who's been a career podium finisher in the Washington leg of World Cup. She has been a World Cup finalist and World Cup qualifier winner in the past. And this is a horse that could do it. He's got all the experience in the world to cover the ground, to make the inside turns.
Yeah, and Katie knows him inside and out. Not a new partnership, so that's always bodes well in these classes.
just really pops that vertical at number 2 so that he's able to turn the moment he lands.
He's really efficient on the backside of the jump. And jumping on the left side out of the combination. Takes a little bit of time here. She wasn't rushing that. Oh, and that's hard off that curve coming in so fast into that combination.
And of course, this is the test, that you've got to jump things off a short approach. You've got to jump things at a bit of speed.
Yes, and yet take the time to clear it. Oh, what a good round.
So a little bit faster than most, 57 on the clock, but 4 to add. So it'll be 61.36 for Katie Dinan, including the 4. So McLean Ward, one of our 2 winners yesterday. McLean still leads with a competition time of 58.39.
Almost identical to the way Catherine Strauss had the jump down as well in that combination.
So fast into that combination.
By providing peer-based emotion support,
This is the test.
casework assistance, and connections to community-based care.
It's a fun course. You have to turn both directions
Yeah.
and gallop and settle. It's a fun course to watch.
So we are up to a total of 15.
So this is Mimi Gotchman. Mimi with Gotchman Sport Horses, Gigi's Girl BH.
We're up to 2,000 now. We're up to $2,000. Here is a young rider who has had a lot of success. She was the individual gold medalist at the North American Young Rider Championships. She has ridden in the world.
So joining the ranks of the riders at the top level of our sport who have picked up that gold medal at the North American Youth Championships. Mimi Gotchman did that in Traverse City this summer.
Target time to catch.
Gigi's Girl BH, and youth won't count against Mimi. She's exceptionally well mounted, she's exceptionally well trained, she's talented, and
she's been showing all day. She's been showing the jumpers, the mediums and the high jumpers, and she was in the hunters and probably the Washington equitation. So no one's been in the ring more today than Mimi.
And she is not here to make up the numbers.
No. So this is really jumping nice and high tonight. Oh, just touched that one behind. And that one as well. So now she's, again, already adding 8
Yeah,
seconds.
it just puts her on the back foot. But he's just got the horse in quite a long frame. It's maybe the way he naturally goes as well, but it just makes it quite difficult to really shape up to some of these big jumps. Yeah, we're at meter 55. It's not small out there.
No, it is not small. And like we said, it's great for these young riders to get in these big competitions, get the experience.
So Mimi will have 12 to add to her time of 61. So that is going to be 73.04 for the young rider out of the Baxter Hill operation in Wellington, Florida.
Time for Mimi Gotchman and Gigi's Girl BH.
You see that the first jump she had down the chocolates.
Just touched that one behind.
Blossoms had a 58.39. The original time 54.39. That combination
One
was
as
another
well.
down those 4 seconds.
So
added.
this is,
So next,
again,
we welcome Catherine Tyree, horse rider coming off some showing.
Kat Tyree is our next to go. Kat owns and rides Bokai by Up to Date.
Showing Bokai. Catherine Tyree LLC entry, this 15-year-old gelding by Up to Date. Catherine Tyree and Bokai.
Bokai and Kat won the big jump-off class that was the Grand Prix qualifier at the Nations Cup show in Wellington in the spring of 2020.
Yep, this is Kat's old partner. It's like putting on comfortable slippers when you come into the ring on a horse. You know this well. She was a little bit wider on the track to the back to the Land Rover jump. Oh,
Ooh,
rub that plank, and that's on flat cups. Can't believe it stayed up. Such a big stride. Got right over to that oxer. Now she's got to settle down and clear A here. Oh, it's so hard to clear that jump.
Yeah. He's just really laid a trap for them there.
Yes, he
if
has.
they want to be
Pulls
competitive.
them right into it. That was quick, though, huh?
Actually, a
55.
little bit slower than
She was
McLean,
at
but
first
with
at-
4 faults,
yeah.
55 seconds, 59.54 will go into second place. I mean, Bokai is always competitive.
Well, and there's no shame in being a little bit slower than McLean,
Yeah.
I will say.
So 1.2 seconds slower.
Fastest in 58.39.
Of course, if she'd been able to leave them all standing, she would be comfortably in front, but she has the same 4 seconds to add as McLean. We've actually yet to see somebody clear all the rails on
Yeah.
course.
Numerous placings throughout the Grand Prix Tour, and in our speed competition.
It's the advantage of going late in these speed classes.
10-year-old Gully by Casper Van Zudershaw. USA, here's Adrian Sternberg.
Adrian Sterling next to go. Starlight Farms Lafayette Van Overus is Adrian's ride. Adrian, who's here with her double World Cup winner Benny's Legacy this week as well. Lafayette has had some very good speed competition results.
And just like her trainer McLean, she took off to number 1, got there nice and deep to number 2 so she can spin back. She's doing a good job of just always kind of letting the horse know which direction it's going in the landing. She's on it. I wonder. Oh gosh!
Just didn't read the fence, unfortunately, and Lafayette just jumped at rather than over it.
Yeah, she didn't. From my angle, it didn't look like she was that
No.
far off the distance. He just didn't.
He just put
Didn't
down
elevate.
again.
Yeah.
Lafayette going to take a few laps of the ring. Adrian back up on her feet. You can see that. So both all right, but disappointment, of course.
Yes.
Having been a real challenging time, it looked like.
Yeah, she looked like she was really spot on the track.
She's doing a good job of just always kind of letting the
See in the
horse
replay,
know
she's
which
really
direction
flying.
it's going
Horse is jumping great.
in the landing. She's on it.
Here you can see she's looking at the jump. Oh yeah, from we can see now from the side that she was definitely long at the jump, and he was going so fast he didn't quite know how to handle that.
Lafayette's had a few runs around the ring. I think he saw the Shetland Pony Grand National earlier on. I thought he'd like to try a bit of that, but
The steeplechase.
so we just joined him. He's decided that he's had enough fun. He's going to let himself be caught. Adrian just rolling up the stirrups now, and out the in-gate they head.
Here in a send-off again from our former team gold medalist here at the World Equestrian Games, part of Team USA's action. We'll give you an update. Here's the standings of what have been earned so far in our jump for taps. All 7 riders so far have cleared fence number 4, which takes us up to $3,500.
So Swiss Olympian Beat Mandley comes forward.
To Switzerland.
Beat, who's been based here in the USA for a number of years, a career World Cup finals winner. I was in Las Vegas. Beat a winner of this President's Cup competition here at Washington a few years ago as well. Victor Serrassier is his ride, and Beat, who's been exceptionally busy the last couple of summers because he has been making himself available for the Swiss Nations Cup team. So he's been flying back to Europe, riding horses at those big 8 European Nations Cups, the likes of Dublin, Hickstead, Falsterbo, and his home show at St. Gallen. And that has put him on the championship team for Switzerland the last couple of years as well. But it's very busy and very tough, I think, to have a foot both sides of the Atlantic like that.
It is tough. This horse has a huge stride. Although he doesn't look like he's going as fast as McLean and Adrian, he's definitely covering the ground. And Beat's such a smooth rider. And you can see him just check up a little bit. He's going to take a little care for these 2 jumps, the vertical on the end and the in of this combination, where his experience really shines through. Could this be our first clean?
I mean, that gives you a huge advantage, and he's not going to be too slow either. Needs to be clean at this pace. 57.84. He's just in front of McLean. McLean's adjusted time of 58.39 is less than 1 second behind Beat Manley and Victor Serrassier. But there's probably 1 or 2 extra moments where Beat made sure of a rail, whereas McLean, not knowing how the class was going to break down, had to try 110% everywhere.
That's correct.
The vertical on the end of this combination. And his experience really shone.
Kristen van der Veen, Kristen with Bull Runs Risen. Kristen, a recent Grand Prix winner on the Split Rock Jumping Tour in Columbus, Ohio. She's been a World Cup qualifier winner. That was at Live Oak, and went on to the finals in Paris with Faustino de Tilly.
And again, this horse, huge loping stride, got down the first line in 6, prompt back to number 3. It's nice how these horses are clearing the TAPS jump, because the TAPS money goes to such a great foundation. And Kristen, again, is one of those riders. She doesn't necessarily look like she's going fast, but she's always inside everybody else's tracks.
I can tell you the one thing, when she does look like she's going fast in a
It's
major
fast.
Grand Prix jump off, it is very fast, exactly.
Oh, she gave that horse just a little, maybe too much space at the front rail, and it just touched the back rail of that oxer.
So there's going to be another one in about 57 seconds on the track. 57.94. 4 to add will be 61.94 for Kristen. That will go 5th best at the moment.
Now, that was a costly one.
Yeah, if somebody could get around in the 54 seconds that McLean rode the track and stay clean, you know, that is potentially going to be our winner. I think McLean is going to be very, very difficult in terms of actual time spent on the course to beat.
Rowan Willis, also a veteran of the World Equestrian Games for his native Australia, here in Tryon back in 2018. Ashton Dakota is his
Ashton Dakota is Rowan Willis's ride. Rowan and Ashton Dakota were on the podium in the Thunderbird leg of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup this year. And Rowan, who has been based in the US since 2018, he came here initially to build up to those World Equestrian Games that were held here at the Tryon venue in 2018. And he's made a home and a life for himself now in Ocala, Florida.
Which travel seems easier just from Ocala, Florida. And clearly he's in it to win it. Oh my gosh. He tried for the 4 and it chipped in, but still cleared the plank. Incredible.
Oh.
You didn't think it was sustainable. It was
No.
a little bit too
I
much.
couldn't believe he jumped the FLM chocolates. I thought at the speed he was on, no horse could get his front legs out of the way in time. But now the horse is just landing a little bit hollow. So coming down on those back rails, he's done it twice over.
That was cool, very ambitious between the Land Rover and the flag to try and leave a stride out.
So Rowan, the horse he took over from the breeder, Ashton Dakota, 8 faults in 69.72. That is including those 8 faults he went around the course in 61. So 69.72 is the competition time in our Table C Speed Final.
And even he cleared the FAPS jump.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That was something. Very clever of the horse.
Chipped in this.
Earned to help the worthy work of
Well, Georgina Bloomberg goes next with Semper Fidelis. George has actually also declared for our puissance later on. So we'll see her take that on. At the moment, listed as one of our 8 going to take on the Land Rover Puissance. It's Georgina and Semper Fidelis for the United States of America try and take on a leading time of 57.84.
Georgina Bloomberg, US.
Oh, just touches the taps. She's at pace. She's having a decent go at this.
Yes,
If
she
she
is.
I was about to say, if she stayed clean, she could easily end up in the mix. Oh, gets a great shift there to the inside.
It's an interesting course because it leads you to really go for it, but it's like you said, it's big. The jumps are big enough, and these inside turns are not easy. And another rub at the Liverpool, but it stayed up.
So it'll be 8 seconds to add to not a bad time of 58. That's a pretty competitive time around the course. So it's going to turn into 66.08 overall for Georgina Bloomberg and Semper Fidelis.
6:08, the total time for Georgina Bloomberg. It's Semper Fidelis.
rider representing Portugal tonight in our starting field. Here's Luis Sabino Gonzalez and Camino Imperio Egipcio. The 11-year-old gelding by Coleman. Rider here again representing Portugal.
Luis Sabino Gonçalves is our next to go. Camino Imperio Egipcio for the rider from Portugal, again a veteran of the World Games here in 2018 at Tryon, a 4-time winner of the Nations Cup Grand Prix at Lisbon. A little bit of time wasted in the air over the first. That's, I think I remember this from last night as well. This horse goes up
high
as much as he goes forward.
Yes.
Oh! I forgot to go forward on that moment.
Now you can just see him. He's still turning on the turns, but he's just really making sure the horse is with him.
So our leading time's 54.58 already, going past Lewis as he tries to bring home his 4 faults, or 4 seconds to add.
Well, the first
67 on the
drive
clock,
is about
and 4 to add will be 71.35 for Luis Sabino Gonçalves.
added to 67.35, 71.35, the time for Luis and Camino Imperio Egicio.
You can see that.
And Beat Manley still in the lead at 57.84. That time set aboard the pick introducer is CA McLean Ward apparently a second with time taken was 54.39, but a knockdown for that combination. As McLean returns on his second, and this is a Kentucky combination with 9 wins and FEI appearances together. It's a 12-year-old Bakatoki owned by Bob Russell, Gorilla Ventura, and McLean Ward.
Well, back to McLean. McLean with Kotoki this time. Just having a look at that taps. It's quite, you know, an imposing fence. The American flag made out of planks, and as I say, an absolutely flat cup holding that top plank in place. And then he just whips around and straight through the start.
This horse just loves to run and jump. There's not a lot of dressaging in between. But through the air like a bullet, so fast. And it's a tiny horse and can jump so high. He can often, like that, add strides and still be quicker than the others because the stride is so quick.
So McLean had a game plan that got him around this track in 54 seconds. If he can do that, even if he just needs to take a pull to the last and sit up and do it in 55 seconds on a clean, he'd be difficult to beat.
Oh my goodness, this is quick.
Just our second clear round, and
Wow.
it's 53.92. It's faster than his first horse, Blossom Z. McLean Ward and Kotoki become the ones to beat. Only our second clean round over the whole course. McLean and Beat Manley with that honour. 2 career World Cup winners, career Olympians, career winners of the Washington leg of the World Cup Series.
That horse and McLean, well, when they go clean, they are so quick.
Trying to repeat here as the winner from yesterday. 53.92 was her time. Again, the new leading combination. Mr. Denning, we welcome you to join us this evening again, supporting our military families and Jump for Taps. Please turn your attention to our taps jump in the ring again. The American flag, and every time that is clear.
So the first to take on that leading time is going to be Andrew Bournes. Andrew with Hyperbolics by Berlin. The Irish rider, based here in the USA for a long time, originally from Galway. Lisbeg Farms and Aircourt just outside Ballinasloe. Where Andrew grew up and started his career. He, I think, originally came to America as part of the training that he spent his Royal Dublin Society bursary on. The bursary competition at Dublin Horse Show selects the leading young riders from the Young Rider Tour of competitions, and then they come together for a bursary competition. They ride each other's horses. They're assessed by some of the leading riders at the show, and I know McLean and Laura Kraut, amongst others, have helped judge that bursary competition in the past at Dublin. It's a really prestigious prize, and a little bit like that North American Young Riders Gold, it is a sort of a litmus test of Irish riders who are expected and do go on to the top of the sport. He touched the Land Rover coming and going.
Yes.
So he was just not quite on the true spot.
Yes. And it's funny how sometimes you have one and then they have the next one also. They get a little bit rattled and lose their concentration.
Because they're so careful, aren't they, the horses? Like,
They're
it
trying
just
so
upsets
hard.
them.
Yes. see he's now just trying to make it a good experience. Maybe it's a little bit spooky under the lights for this one.
So bringing home 12 penalty seconds. Andrew for Ireland will add 12 onto his time of 65.77. So overall 77.77. So our two leading times are Claire's, McLean Ward and Bert Mandley, 53.92 and 57.84. It's quite a gap between them. And then McLean sits third as well with a competition time of 58.39.
Esty De Palatina and Charlie Jacobs will be our next to work. Our rider based out of Boston is on the CMJ Sport Horse LLC's Esty De Palatina, the 12-year-old mare.
The rider from Boston, Massachusetts, Charlie Jacobs with the Namalasar mare Est De Palatina. Charlie, a four-time World Cup finalist and a great supporter over the years of the Washington Horse Show. He competes most years. And again, I don't know whether it's a blessing or a curse that usually when we're in DC, he can shuttle back and forward to his office in Boston, because he's one of our riders who's got a proper day job.
Yes. Just got to be hard splitting his time. You can see he's not going as crazy as the others. Took a hard look at that flag.
Say it's just so solid. I mean, even most plank fences now, you'd have just a bit of an opportunity for the horse to see through.
Yes, it's so solid. It almost looks like a wall.
Yeah. So it's just the time taken, of course, for the reset. No penalty seconds to add for his refusal.
Yeah, and he's jumping a very deliberate and organized round now. Again, making sure the experience is a good one.
Again, for sure, taking the time, which just makes it a little bit easier. You take the pressure off yourself, but getting around a metre 55 track of Bernardo Costa Cabral's will be no small measure. Looking forward to tomorrow night's World Cup qualifier as well. So Charlie adds nothing to a clock time of 91.48.
13 have cleared the taps jump so far, and Charlie cleared it on the second attempt, but it was the first attempt that counts. We're up to $11,500 raised for the folks at TAPS. One of the quickest combinations on the show jumping tour here is a rider representing Israel.
Israel Sid Schulman and Villamora say not just a great rider, but a great combination, especially for a speed competition. Career winner of the accumulator and indeed this class, the speed final at Washington. That was in 2019, our last time indoors.
No, this is like McLean's horse. It's such a quick horse, even if it's adding strides. It's so quick in its movement. She has immediate turbo. She just thinks go and it goes.
She actually almost had to steer the horse back at the jump.
Yes,
I was thinking about turning before number 2.
It was. It is a game horse. I know she loves it so much. Has all the faith in the world in this horse. So handy. Let's see if she can hold it together over A. Looking great.
So she's in good shape. 53.92 is the leading time.
She is really putting in a solid round.
Brave there. The time is okay. Yeah, 53.25. She is a fraction in front of McLean Ward. Sydney Schulman and Villamora, pretty much the defending speed champions.
And a crowd pleaser. You can hear the screaming.
So 53.25 is what they're going to have to beat now to try and take our speed championship tonight as we approach the halfway mark of the starting draw.
It is so impressive how quickly this horse gets away from the jump. So well ridden.
That's a mere first of two before a midway break, and then today's speed final, the Brazilian Santiago Lambre with the Diamant Rose Z. That's a 10-year-old mare by Toulon, owned by Aaron Ballard and Elon Furter.
So Santiago Lambre, another rider who we saw just recently in Columbus, Ohio. Santiago with horse in the ownership of Aaron Ballard and Ilan Furter. This is the Diamant Rose by Toulon. The rider has been consistently ranked inside the world's top 100, been an Olympian.
Again, took advantage of the stride and did 6 up the first line. Really lucky to get the land over. The horse wasn't really even have its feet underneath, but it made it. This is looking blistering fast. If he can hold it together. Oh, just rubbed off the front rail of the into the combination. But again, with the false converter, you see he's not letting up.
No.
Again, the front rail of the second combination of the Oxer.
That's going to make, well, the 8 penalty seconds was going to make it difficult to be a challenger. 12 penalty seconds puts him right out of contention.
Yep.
He goes out around the Washington Monument fence.
It was just a rail too far. But he gave it a good shot at the beginning.
So 57.90, that could have easily been a lot faster, especially one inside turn he didn't even take with the 12 seconds to add those. 69.90.
Rose to 12 seconds added. So 69.90 the time for Brazil's Santiago Lambre.
For Great Britain, our next rider here is Amanda Derbyshire and Luganta VH, 13-year-old mare by the Dame, owned by Gotchman Sport Horses.
Amanda Derbyshire is going to be our next to go with her own Gotchman Sport Horses, Louis Banta BH. Amanda, World Games and Nations Cup final level rider for Great Britain.
Also a reminder, at 9 p.m. there'll be an autograph session. That will be by the Welcome Center here up next to the Legends Club. And you can get
Just
an
having a look
autograph,
back at the Land Rover. It's worth considering because there's that metallic silver paint on that, and how that looks under the lights is,
Yes.
I think, got to be of interest to the riders and just worth showing to their horse if they're at all concerned.
And like you mentioned, it's a new jump. Hasn't been jumped before, this show. Oh, just picks off that top rail of the flag, top plank. It looks like she's going to call it an evening. She doesn't want to have to go so fast to take those 4 seconds out of play.
So a usually very, very competitive combination already against them early on the track, so deciding not to take any further part in our speed final. They'll keep their powder dry. It might well be Amanda's horse for the President's Cup tomorrow here at Washington.
Here in our speed class, and get up, stretch your legs. We'll be back here in 12 minutes with the second half of our
See the
first
replay.
round.
Just
And
swapped off and really jumped into the jump rather than over it. End of story.
So far, $500 a piece, and that takes us up to 40.
So that's going to take us to halfway of our starting draw here. We've got 3 cleans leading the way. We'll have a look at our leaderboard in just a moment, but it's going to be Sid Schulman of Israel out in front of our speed final here at the Washington International Horse Show, taking place at Tryon in North Carolina. Just behind Sydney is going to be McLean Ward. McLean at 53.92 with Kotoki. Beit Mandley sits third, 57.84. All of them with nothing to add. And then it is McLean's trailblazing round that sits fourth. Kat Tyree in fifth with Bokai. Katie Dinan sixth. Kristen van der Veen seventh. Alessandra Volpe in eighth. George Bloomberg in ninth and Catherine Strauss in 10th. That's things as they stand at the moment, halfway through the speed final, this one-round Table C competition. We'll be back to the action in just a few minutes' time.
care for everyone who's grieving forever with resources and support. National Network Leaders, Connections to Grief Support, 24/7 helpline. casework assistance. $0 lost to the government to the taxpayer to defend system. 100% funded by donations from caring Americans. Tragedy assistance program for survivors. Health, hope, and healing.
Anniversary of that housing. But these are the days when military families feel most vulnerable. Loss of their soldier, their sailor, their family. Our Coast Guards, families never forget the love that's lost, and neither do we. Our military families need to know you're not alone. You're not forgotten. Show them your support at TAPS.org.
Good morning.
More treatment.
We're going to try something different today.
So pretty.
Dogs bring out the good in us. Pedigree brings out the good in them.
U.S. Equestrian. Thousands of equestrians have united
To watch, to learn,
to experience, to compete.
in the pursuit of fairness, safety, welfare, and joy.
From the grassroots to the Olympic Games.
Each with personal goals, but all united together for the joy of horse sports. Ride Unite. Ride with U.S. Equestrian.
Perfection takes time. Hours, days, years. Repetition, dedication, perseverance. Take you further, lift you higher, make you stronger. Time is measured in seconds. Success and failure separated by fractions. Champions are created in time. Well, the drags head around the ring here as we get set for our second half of the first class of the break. Is Mississippi Showman. Illinois, 325. That is leaderboard in Tokyo. That's 53.92. We have to have a switch right now. 50.74. $7,500 earned at this point from the donation towards TAPS programs, Veteran Assistance Program for Survivors, the official military charity of the Washington International. They provide immediate, long-term emotional help, hope, TAPS meets its mission by providing peer-based emotional support, grief, trauma resources, casework assistance, and connections to community-based care. They were founded in 1994 and established itself as the frontline resource to the families and loved ones of our military men and women. We hope you join us in our support, Washington International support of TAPS and all the great work that they do. Target of 53.25. Sydney Shulman and Villamora and lead the way. One of the fastest combinations out on the show jumping circuit. Don't forget that after the class is over, there'll be an autograph session. You can meet and greet with show jumping riders Carl Cook, who was second in last year's President's Cup. Along with Carl will be Adrian Sternlich, team gold medalist from the World Equestrian Games, and Mimi Gotchman will be up there as well, signing autographs. You can head over by the Welcome Center, as again they'll be right there signing autographs for all.
So welcome back to Tryon in North Carolina. We are hosting the Washington International Horse Show, and it is speed final evening, part of military evening here at the Washington International that builds up towards that Puissance, the big red wall competition powered by Land Rover later on tonight. At the moment, 3 cleans over Bernardo Costa Cabral's Table C track lead the way. Sid Schulman, McLean Ward and Baird Manley, and hoping to join them on a clean is going to be Katie Dinan. Katie with Atos Dell.
Target is 53.25.
Katie's already been in with Dougie Douglas, jumped a 57 on the clock and had 4 penalty seconds to add. So we've been watching the course, Kim Prince alongside me, and just saying how it lures you if you are going quite fast into just turning up quite short to a fence and getting yourself in trouble. We've had just 3 out of nearly 20 have managed the full clear round, and actually quite a variety of different rails going down as well.
Yes, the course has really had a lot of different problem areas, but like you said, everyone's going fast, everyone's trying for the money. And at that speed, things go wrong. Katie's putting in a very solid round so far. Not the fastest, but quick enough. If she holds up a clean,
well,
right
exactly. They're starting to look like they could be very, very valuable. Even 57, 58 seconds with a clean could end up top 5, and by the end of the class should comfortably stay inside the top 10.
Oh, great round.
59.05 to get us back on the way. Nothing to add. 59.05 goes 5th best for Katie Dinan and Atos Dell. Actually just bested by McLean Ward's time with penalties with his first in the ring, Blossom Z.
Yeah. Like we said, not the most blazing round, but a very well ridden, quick enough. Hopefully she'll keep a piece of it.
I'll take us to 22nd in the original order. Canada's Sean Jobin with the Kokiliva Van Het Heuvelen.
Sean Jobin with Foxwood Farm Stables Kokilo Van Het Heuvelen.
The combination has had success here in the Tryon Stadium earlier this year.
Second one by Katoki, the same sire as McLean Ward's Katoki that was in the ring earlier on, and sits second.
It'll be interesting to see the strategy of the second half of this class. If they just take a little bit more time and start putting in more clean rounds.
I think you'd want to be sitting on something very special to think that you might have a chance of beating Bayat, McLean or Sydney.
Yes. Yeah, it's a star-studded. Kent still has to go with Gazelle. There's a star-studded group here. This horse is doing a nice job.
So sits in for the clear, nothing to add to the time. 61.72 will go into 8th place. There are 3 rounds that include penalty seconds added ahead of him in the order, but Sean Jobin into 8th for Canada.
We still with Israel Sydney Schulman and Villamura at 53.25.
This horse has a great expression, looking for the jump.
At 53.92, Switzerland's Beat Manley takes the CA and third at 57.84.
We move to the second of our riders representing Great Britain this year at the Washington International.
Grace Debney is our next to go. Young Grace with Temple Equestrian LLC's Faro by Calvaro. Gracie just didn't quite get the round she wanted yesterday in the big class, but we'll be back trying to be as competitive as possible.
Well, she was just second in the high junior amateur class this afternoon, and that was such a fast jump off. So she's already warmed up in her speed gear for today. We'll see what she can do now.
Won that USEF Dover Saddlery equitation class in the finals.
Yeah, the medal finals at Harrisburg. And it looks like she's actually just going for a nice, solid, clean round, because she didn't take quite the shot that the others did to the Land Rover. And you see she's actually the first person that's going around to the FLM Chocolates jump. As we said, these young riders getting their feet wet in these big classes. Meter 55 is a solid, course for these kids to get their bearings and experience. Just really having a great round. Horse is jumping with absolute ease.
So just taking very few of the inside turns, so it's going to be a big old time, 67.95, but with a clean go, it is our sixth to score that clean go. Grace Debney will go 13th on our order.
That will sit right now in 13th, just out of our top 12.
You can see
USA's
rub-free, beautiful round.
With us for another entry from Gotham Enterprises. 10-year-old gelding by Metropolitan Manhattan, Georgia Bloomberg. 53.25.
Back to US Pan American Games team medalist. That was in Toronto 2015, Georgina Bloomberg, Manhattan.
And a little bit like Grace, Georgina's looks like she's going for a nice solid round. Oh, just touched the front rail of the Land Rover. She was not pushing for speed. She's doing the turns, but in kind of a more medium pace. The horse has an unusual way of going, shifts very hard as it takes off in the air. And every rider has their own plan when they come to these classes. Clearly this was her plan from the get-go to have a solid round.
Certainly having the early rail might change your plan quite considerably as well. So 4 to add, 70.67 on the clock, so 74.67 including the penalty seconds for the Land Rover Manhattan. And Georgina Bloomberg will go down our order a little bit into 18th.
So the clears over the taps fence right now are 19 times that jump has been cleared, and we are up to a total now of $9,500. $9,500 is the total right now that the check will be written to taps, and again, we are grateful for our donors that help.
And again, we are so grateful for no rain this evening.
Yeah, after last night, I tell you. And the minimum amount of rain last night was miserable, and then every so often it would just absolutely become torrential. You see some of the photos from last night of
the riders were still talking about how cold they were even after their hot showers. Well, it'll go down in history, the Washington Horse Show, where everyone was rained on.
It's not quite the idea for what's normally an indoor show.
Correct, correct. And it's fun. This course is fun because it is indoor-esque. You know, he's keeping the jumps away from the rails so that it makes it a bit smaller ring than it actually is, which makes things more related, as it would be if you were in the indoor.
And this has always been a good ring for that. I mean, the temptation when you're outdoors, you have endless land, is to build a huge Grand Prix ring. And we have, you know, those sort of rings. We have the Hampton Classic, we've got the Winter Equestrian Festival at Palm Beach, but actually this creates its own thing. It's bigger than the Capital One Arena ever was. It's bigger than Lexington will be next week, but it is not that huge Grand Prix field.
Exactly.
So it just allows designers to do something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yep, much more of a boutique ring. The lighting is so good as well. There are virtually no shadows.
Yeah.
Welcome in the next of our riders for Canada. It is Tiffany Foster.
So Tiffany Foster's going to be our next to go after a couple of late scratches, so that's just why we had that gap a moment ago. Tiffany didn't realize she needed to be coming forward quite so quickly. So Northern Light and Tiffany, the Swedish Warm Blood by Plot Blue for the Canadian two-time Olympian. So 53.25 is our leading time. Sydney Schulman for Israel.
See, she's taking her time, letting the horse kind of peek at all the jumps. Looks like a very sensitive horse. She doesn't even have spurs on or stick. To a very snappy start. This is one of those horses that's so enjoyable to watch. The style is so good, way of going is so nice. And although it's not blazing fast, it's smooth, and smooth is often fast. See, she's really taking her time to 9A. She does not want to have the fall into having that one down like so many others in the class did.
And like we were saying earlier on, when you have one, it's so often that you might just have the next one as well.
Exactly.
So just on the 4 penalty seconds from the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup vertical below us here at the jury box. 60 seconds on the clock and 4 to add. 64.24 for Tiffany Foster and Northern Light.
4 for that knockdown, 64.24.
The replay just touched it behind. And you can see she set it up. That it's very organized at the end of this combination.
And Brianna on course with the Tanel Devon. What about Gerald Ford as a 14-year-old?
So Brianne Goutel-Marteau is our next to go. Brianne with Tanel Debon. Brianne, a career winner of the American Gold Cup. She's been on the podium at the Hampton Classic. She's been on the podium recently in a 5-star Grand Prix on the Major League Tour in Michigan.
This horse went so well last night. Brianne was very, very pleased. And such a fast rider, Brianne. She's looking good.
He's just got, nice pace to get this done, just giving themselves maybe just a little bit more time than some others have.
Oh,
But
gosh. So hard to get the body to turn around there. They end up coming a little bit on the angle because the horse can't turn around. It's such a sharp turn. It's what a shame because it was such a good round.
yeah, and 2 in a row having that land when we haven't seen it down in ages and ages on course, and just didn't feel like she had the horse reacting and listening to her on the way to the last. So just turns away for safety's sake because that is the last sort of size of jumper. Meter 50 probably square oxer that you want to be paddling through off a bad spot.
Exactly.
So 70 on the clock, 4 to add, 74 for Brianne Gutel-Marteau, but it could have been very, very different indeed. Could have been a very competitive round.
Yeah, the horse is just kind of cutting to the inside with the body.
With Switzerland's Beat Manley and Dijon Tentelzet. The 10-year-old gelding by Diamant de 70.
Beat Manley is back with us, Beat, this time with Dijon Terdun. A Diamant de Semi horse, one of several in the class, as you'd expect in any major jumping competition. Beat sits third at the moment with his first ride. One of our leading clears with nothing to add. That was Victor Serissier.
Yes, and Beat had scratched his horses last night in the pouring rain. He only went with one of them, so they are all fresh and ready to go.
We were joking with him last night, though. He was saying, the weather was bad. I said, it was pretty European weather. And how often has the St. Gallen Nations Cup been run in a deluge, the home Nations Cup for the Swiss
in
riders?
The grass.
So, yeah, we said, you are not allowed talk.
Gets spoiled with the American weather. Took a little bit of time there to straighten out. Quick and sharp off the ground at the FEI vertical. Again, like he had to catch up with the horse on the inside track. Solid round.
Another nice, smooth 0 score for Beat Manley and Dijon Terdun. Nothing to add to a time of 57.48. He will, in fact, cost himself a place. Beat Manley and Dijon go third, and Victor Serissier down now to fourth.
On the leaderboard, currently in third. So Beat in third and fourth with his 2 mounts. Sydney Shulman.
This shows you how similar he rode the track from one horse to the next.
And fifth right now, rounding out our top 5.
1/3 of a second difference between his 2 rides. Here's Kent Farrington, and this is an exciting horse to see in this class because this horse has won. Gazelle, leaping like one.
Leaping like one.
Is the horse with which Kent won the Aachen Grand Prix in Germany, that major 5-star Grand Prix. And now, as ever, his horses are always so speedy, and Kent is going to try and win the speed final here with this vastly experienced Grand Prix horse. 15 years old now, the mare, by Kashmir van Schutershoff. Kent co-owns with Robin Parsky, who's been a fantastic owner for Kent and for US Equestrian. She has horses with a couple of riders.
Yes, Robin Parsky, such a good supporter of the U.S. team and the horses and riders. Oh, it looks like Kent is schooling Gazelle maybe for the President's Cup because he's already not as speedy as normally could be. Yep, and picks the round option.
Yeah.
So clearly he's getting under the lights in the good weather, ready for tomorrow night. Hopefully he can pull out a clean in the big class.
And the other thing you have to consider is, I mean, you look how feisty this mare is. Sometimes you have to jump them because otherwise they're too fresh to concentrate on a big class.
Yes. And this is an impressive venue with the lights and the
And the few extra
bright
people in
jumps.
tonight. I mean, they get. Have you been here the whole sort of autumn tour, the previous?
I was
some
here
of the
last week
4 or
also,
5 weeks.
yeah.
Because Saturday nights, they've really built Saturday nights here in the Carolinas, and people do come out and support this venue. So I'm really quite looking forward to tomorrow night. Like I was here for an eventing championships a few years ago, and they came because the natural inclination is there's something on a Trine.
Yes,
it's Saturday night. Let's go.
They come and they eat and they go to the carousel with the kids, and it's very fun here.
72 seconds on the clock, 72.87 for Ken Farrington and Gazelle with nothing to add. He goes top 20 on that, but as I say, looking really towards the President's Cup, and he is very well mounted. He's got the choice of Austria and Gazelle, 2 horses that could both easily offer him victory in the President's Cup.
She is on the 13-year-old gelding by 4 Edition, the Hanoverian Foster.
We go back to Alessandra Volpi. Alessandra gave us one of our early rides around the course with Absolute Demir. This time it is with Foster, and Alessandra started to set the standard for the average speed around this course, which is about 56 to 58 seconds.
Yeah, it's so nice to have 2 horses in the class because she knows the track and she's aware of what needs to happen. Nice and quick to the inside corner of the Land Rover.
And the other thing that I think it's worth thinking about for some of the younger riders is how even on the inside turns you need to be inside the obvious. And,
yes.
I think a few riders are just lured out towards that planting from 2 to 3, and she got a good spot,
Yes,
a good line.
she sure did. She cut right into it.
And I think we're going to see the same here. She won't go all the way out exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's looking good. She's looking competitive. Oh, a little bit deep, but she really held it together. Oh, what a shame.
You don't get at the A, you get got at the B.
She did a good job of holding it up at A and then just ticked off the front rail.
That's such a brave angle you need over to that big vertical.
Yes.
And over the last 57 seconds on the clock, so it'll be 61.01 with the 4 penalty seconds for Alessandra Volpi and Foster.
61.01 is the tie for Alessandra Volpi. Currently they sit on the 8th position on the leaderboard right now.
You can just see just touching on the way up that front rail of the out.
Bull Run's Faustino de T by Berlin is next to go. The Bull Run Syndicate owning this one for Kristen van der Veen. Kristen and Faustino de T had some very good World Cup results in their career, including a win at Live Oak in Florida. Kristen also then has done a couple of European tours. She's had some great success in Switzerland. She had 2 5-star Grand Prix top 10s in quick succession in Switzerland in the summer of 2019.
And she can really go fast on this horse. I mean, looked like the slowing down in the 6th. For sure the quickest back to the Land Rover. This horse is just a master of these kind of inside angles, turns. Has to absolutely slow down to fit in 7 strides there.
It's well inside their predecessors' lines.
So quick.
53.25 to beat, by the way, for Sydney Schulman. It's gone, though.
Yeah,
gone
you
at
could
the
see
A
her
element.
working so hard to give him space, and his mouth was just a little bit too hard at that moment. Oh my gosh, and then he got really to the outside of the line and a little bit lost, but wow, what a quick time.
So 54.01 on the clock would have been good enough for 3rd with the 4 penalty seconds. 58.01 will go into 5th best. So the 3 best clean sheets, Sid Schulman, McLean Ward and Bert Manley's 2 rides still hold the top results.
We've seen her on on her first mount take the lead. Villamora and Sydney Shulman of Israel. 53.25 the time to catch. Sydney back now on her second mount.
So our current leader is Sydney Shulman of Israel. Sydney's back with us with Maggie Hill's Atois de Prim. Atois de Prim, the 11-year-old mare by Conteno Grande.
Just letting the horse settle a little bit. This one looks fast already. She hasn't even started yet. She's off to a very good clip, just getting to number one. And she left the stride out up the first line. It made her go out a little bit wider to jump 3, but she's cleared it. She's literally trying to beat herself.
And that time to beat is 53.25 for Sid. But it must give you enormous confidence to have kind of done it once.
Well, and when you're already winning, it's a lot less pressure. You got nothing to lose. This is so quick. Oh, just got a little bit too long. And typical Sid Shulman style, no stirrup, but still jumping 1.55 m, no problem.
53.61 on the clock with 4 penalty seconds. She will actually beat out Beat Mandley's clean round, pushing him down to 5th. She will take over 4th with those 4 penalty seconds. Her time would have put her 2nd to herself, but actually I think she might have been a bit braver down the final line if she'd still been on the 0 score. So Sid and Atois de Prim go 4th.
Or had a stirrup. It's Sid. She doesn't need one.
Jessica Mendoza, British Championship medalist, Nations Cup Finals rider. Won quite a few Grand Prix here in North America now. Jess with Carly Day's Casanova. Another one by Clarimo. We had a Clarimo horse earlier on in Cincinnati Kid for Catherine Strauss.
And Jess is always such a fast rider. She doesn't come in the ring to not give it a shot. Did a good job of holding on to it and clearing that Ethel M chocolate jump. This is speedy. If she can pull off a clean, she'll be up there.
Over 53 leads, 57 is in 3rd.
One more to go for clean round.
Clean it is, 56.90 will go into 3rd place for Jessica Mendoza, pushes Beat Mandley's Victor Serisier score down. So McLean Ward still sits 2nd, Sydney Shulman still in the lead, and Jess Mendoza is on the podium in 3rd as we get towards the final few to show in this $50,000 speed final table C.
That was a great round. She really gave it her all.
Into 3rd, and we move to Skylar Riley for the U.S. Skylar just back from representing the U.S. in the Nations Cup Finals. She's on the 9-year-old.
Sondilo PS is the ride now for Skylar Riley. Skylar, who was at the Nations Cup Finals this year in Barcelona for the USA, had some good results with her Nations Cup final horse Robin de Pontoul either side of that trip to Europe as well. And of course split the win in the Land Rover Puissance here with us 2 years ago at the Washington International.
And she put a nice bend in that first line, doing the 7, but on the bend so she could be headed back to Land Rover quickly. Ah, just took the top plank off the taps jump. She's still being tidy. She's not as blazing fast, but she's not very wide. She's trying to stay inside the tracks of the others.
Yeah, and Sundilo is just 9 years old as well, so I think there's a lot of just learning about how the gears work at this sort of pace.
Yeah, and height, exactly.
Skylar will have 8 to add to a time of 56, so it's going to be 64, 24 and 16th best. To the 100th of a second, she's equal with Tiffany Foster, actually. They are in equal 16th.
Total time, finishing time 64-24, USA Skylar Ryder.
We'll move to the second ride for the United States, Adrian Sternlick. She was on Hewitt.
I think I might like to come back in my next life as one of Skylar's horses. You get a lot of treats. Back to Adrian Sternlick. Adrian with Puet 18 by A Pikachu de Muse. So the US gold medalist at the World Championships level, that was here in Tryon in 2018. And a gold that was won in a jump-off as well.
That was an exciting day. You can see Adrian clearly going for a nice solid round, again wide from 2 to 3. Going around to the SLM jump as well.
Yeah, again, this is a horse that's just 8 years old, hasn't actually been ridden by Adrian terribly long either. This would be their second week of international competition together. The horse produced up through the grades by Billy Toomey of Ireland.
You wouldn't know it. They look like they know each other quite well already.
I mean, this is actually the horse's first class over meter 50 in his career. So first meter 55 level competition. So I think Adrian's doing exactly the right thing, taking the opportunity to jump the height, but without adding the pressure of trying to jump at great speed for this young horse.
Oh, what a lovely round.
68.45 on the clock, and nothing to add for Adrian and Puet 18, and that goes just outside our top 20.
Great time, nothing added to that time. That will finish outside of the...
Just a shade slower than Grace Debney's clean round earlier on.
And target still stands at 53.25, posted by Israel's Cindy Schulman with Philo Murrow, as the USA's Lauren Huff comes on course with Billy Nala. Alexander LLC entry, a 9-year-old mare by Billy Mexico.
Billy Nala is the ride now of Lauren Huff. Lauren with the 9-year-old by Billy Mexico. One of 2 Billy horses we're going to see in quick succession here towards the end of this speed final. This horse ridden in Europe by US rider Taylor Alexander and started in winning ways in Caledon in Ontario for Lauren just last month.
She was really accelerating through that turn. Ooh, rubbed that plank, top plank, but it stayed up. This is one of those horses with quick steps. And still holding onto a clean. So you can manage this combination. Perfect.
You can just see how impressive those leading times were. 53 seconds is our time when our winner was home. And Lauren hasn't gone terribly long or terribly slow, and she comes home with 58 on the clock. It's also 2 rails down, 8 seconds to add for Lauren, so it will be 66.70.
A final 2 fences down, however, 11 and 12, so we'll have to add 8 seconds, 4 added seconds for each of those knockdowns. 66.70, 66.70 for Lauren Huff with the
First of 3 left to go. Here's
So just a couple left to go.
It's Molly Ash-Cawley on the loose.
Welcome forward, Molly Ash-Cawley.
It's Gardine with Molly Ash-Cawley for the U.S.
Birdie by Bustique is her ride. It's actually the first time we see Molly. She did have 2 enters. She decided not to run Cappuccino by Comme Il Faut. So this is her first time riding the track, but she's had the opportunity to see nearly every competitor so far as she goes towards the end of the draw.
She's been waiting a long time to go. She had such a brilliant round last evening on Cappuccino with just the 1 time fall, so I can see why she let that one have the night off. It's so fun to watch Molly ride. She's so competitive and so accomplished. See, she's quick on the backside of the plank jump. I'll tell you, this is a proper round. She can keep it clean. She'll be right up there.
Makes a great shape over that one, and that's important. This then has been the bogey for plenty.
Took a little bit of time through the combination. I think now she would really like to bring it home clean. A great
Competitive,
ride.
it's not going to go into the lead, but
Oh,
how close will she be?
Fabulous
55.19, it's going to go third. McLean Ward will still sit second. Sid Schulman still in the lead, but Molly Ash-Cawley now pushes Jess Mendoza off the podium of our speed final.
That was a terrific round. So well ridden and smooth. Horse jumped beautifully.
Rounding out the top 6 in our leaderboard.
Next combination at Challenge, Australia's Rowan Willis with Billy Gilder. Correction, Carl Cook and Kalinka Van Zorn.
So there are our top 4. Molly Ash-Cawley just going into third. That's McLean Ward's 53.92. With his second ride on course that sits in second place. Sydney Schulman out in front with her early ride.
Time to catch 53.
With Villamora, 53.25. Carl Cook. Carl just shows 1 in this class as well. This is Kalinka Van Zorgvliet by Thunderwelle Zuthoever for Senior Osby for the US World Cup finalist. Carl has been several times a victor in World Cup action out on the West Coast. Helping him get the points to go to those finals as one of the 7 US riders.
It's a little horse, but great jump. Got a little slow there. Quick back to the FEI, though. And right to the inside corner of the combination.
So Carl, who was a Grand Prix winner here in North Carolina last summer.
And second in the President's Cup last year. Got a nice round. Horse jumped so well.
A nice clear, 54.73, and now he takes third spot on the podium. It is just becoming red hot there. All exceptionally close. Jess Mendoza, Molly Ash-Cawley, and now Carl Cook. Third best in 54.73, but nobody quite to touch McLean Ward or Sid Schulman even yet.
Autograph from our U.S. rider Carl Cook, as he will be part of an autograph signing session. U.S. rider Adrian Sternlich and Mimi Gotchman will also be there on hand once we wrap up our $50,000 speed.
So there's our top 4 with Carl Cook going into third. You can see how close it is, especially between Sydney Schulman and McLean Ward in the top 2 spots. And we welcome forward our last on the start list. Hyde Moffat for Canada. Hyde with the VDL horse Gisborne by Zorocco Blue. Riding for Ariel Grange. Hyde, who rode most of his horses yesterday in the big welcome class in the rain. So comes just with a 1 for the speed final tonight.
This was a good class to go late in because you could really analyze where the bogey jumps were and gauge how fast you really wanted to go. The horse went really far right out of that combination, which definitely added strides. A little quicker into this one. Looking good if he can just bring it home clean. He'll be in the ribbons. Yes, very solid round.
Nice way to finish the class. Another clean go. 60.96 on the clock, and it is going to be another one clear of the taps. 32 of our riders ended up jumping clear over the taps fence, which means our athletes have raised $16,000 for the TAPS program, our chosen charity here on Military Night at the Washington International Horse Show. So they have done a great job of jumping clean for the green. So we just watched some of the highlights here of Hyde and Gisborne, our final horse and rider combination in the ring of our world ranking class. But we do have one more class today, and that is the Puissance powered by Land Rover. Sid Schulman takes the win. We'll have awards in a moment, and the Israeli anthem will play out for Sydney's victory. McLean Ward and Kentucky second, Carl Cook and Kalinka third, Molly Ashcorley Birdie in fourth, Jess Mendoza, Casanova fifth, Bert Manley and Dijon, they were early on the podium and pushed all the way down to sixth. Sid Schulman and Atois de Prime, they had penalty seconds included, but still finished top 10. Bert was clean for 8th. Kristen van der Veen has penalty seconds, as does McLean Ward and Blossom, but still managing top 10. Katie Dinan was clean with Atos Del. Kat Tyree and Bokai had the rail to sit there in 12th. Here's the results on down the order, including Hyde, Moffat and Gisborne, who we saw towards the end of the class. And actually, we're just getting news in as well that the team and the patrons of the Washington International Horse Show are going to round up that TAPS donation from the $16,000 raised by the athletes in the competition to a full donation of $20,000 to the TAPS program. So that's a fantastic start to Military Evening here. I'm going to thank Kim Prince, because Kim doesn't have to try and talk us through the Puissance, because mostly we sit with our hands over our eyes as they ride down towards it. So Kim has a welcome break now to go and enjoy the Puissance, the Land Rover Puissance from the Legends Grill. I will be out on the ground. We'll bring you that from the bowl, and we're going to throw it out to the bowl now as well for awards coming up for our world ranking class tonight here from Washington at Tryon.
The military provides government benefits and rests with vital honors.
Then TAPS is there to care for everyone who's grieving, forever, with resources and support. National network of peers, connections to grief support, 24/7 helpline, casework assistance, $0 cost to the government, to the taxpayer, to the families. 100% funded by donations from caring Americans. Tragedy assistance program for survivors, help, hope, and healing.
A birthday without her mom, an anniversary without her husband, her wedding day without her dad. These are the days when military families feel it most of all. The loss of their soldier, their sailor, their airman, their Marine, their Coast Guardsman. Families never forget their loved ones lost, and neither do we. Our military families need to know they are not alone and they are not forgotten. Show them your support at TAPS.com.
Let's welcome back our top three as we salute the efforts. Here is our winner back. Cindy Schulman will join us here, our winner with Villamora, taking the top honors. Cindy Schulman joining us here as we bring her back, our winner in time of 53:25. Finishing up in second place, joining us, McLean Ward of the United States with Kentucky from Bob Russell and Marilla Van Buren. Kentucky was our winner yesterday, finishing second here today. And rounding out the top three, it is Carl Cook. And Carl with the entry of Signias via Woodside, California. The Belgian-bred Kalika Vanet Zorgelitz. They are the top three as, again, we come out for our prize-giving ceremony. So as our winner heads up for the prize giving, we will ask you to join us, if you would, as we honor the nation of our winning rider. If you would all rise and remove cover for the playing of the national anthem of Israel. Stepping up to, again, for the prize-giving ceremony, we welcome to make the presentation Diana Hosford, the Vice President of Sport and Entertainment for TAPS, Vicki Lowell, the President of the Washington International Horse Show, and our TAPS family of the evening here joining us, the Young family from Ruffton, and they are, again, the surviving spouse Amanda Young, Luke Young, and Reddick Young join us to make the presentation. You can see Villamora is still happy about that winning round and likes to get things done quickly here, so we'll get a little drive-by shot here as we try and make this presentation for the win. And we will have our winner lead us off in the round of honor. Sydney Shulman takes the win for Israel.